Hello everybody and welcome to Football Talks TV. I'm your host Amir Selenia, and on today's segment we're going to be discussing the implications of the Champions League and also a little bit about El Clasico. So, as you may or may not be aware, this year's Champions League final is going to be between Real Madrid and Liverpool FC. Real Madrid are back-to-back defending champions, and Liverpool, in their own regards, can be regarded as the Fresh Princes of Europe, and they've finally decided to, not as much being able to come out as a decision of their own, but being able to finally get to the Champions League final for the first time since 2007. So, firstly, we're going to be discussing what happened in the Real Madrid and Bayern Munich tie. In the second leg of that Champions League semi-final between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, Real Madrid took back an away lead back to the Santiago Bernabeu. You may think that this would be a phenomenal opportunity for Real Madrid not to squander the advantage that they went and earned at Bayern Munich at the Allianz, but unfortunately it was a much closer game than Real Madrid had anticipated. Through injuries, both Real Madrid right back Dani Carvajal and Real Madrid midfielder Isco were both unavailable for that clash. On the other side, Bayern Munich were able to finally get their star left back David Alaba back onto their team. Without further ado, let's start talking about the goals and the plays that happened at the return leg at the Santiago Bernabeu. To start the game, Bayern Munich were in good control. At the third minute, Joshua Kimmich was able to get on the scoreboard, just like he did in the first leg early on, and although it was a fortuitous bounce, he placed it calm and collected into the back of the net. Real Madrid would shortly equalize after through Karim Benzema as a lovely ball that was controlled by Marcelo. It was just incredible. One touch control, and then he crossed it around and Benzema met him at the far post and headed in perfectly. In the second half, very quickly, Real Madrid were granted a huge opportunity as Toliso's intended back pass to Sven Ulrich, the Bayern Munich shot stopper who's filling in for Manuel Neuer, and he wasn't able to control it, and Real Madrid's Karim Benzema, already in fine form in this tie, having to have shouldered most of the goal-scoring burden that normally Cristiano Ronaldo occupies, pounced, and it was just a tap-in. It was the worst possible start for Bayern Munich fans all around the world, and I'm sure Coach Jupp Heynckes was extremely devastated at what happened. 2-1 it was for Real Madrid. Huge calamitous error by Sven Ulreich, but Bayern did not stop there. Often the Real Madrid scapegoat for the burdens of the failures of Real Madrid is their goalkeeper, Keylor Navas. He's continually linked with a move away from Real Madrid, as a club of Real Madrid statures always likes to get and transfer for the best possible player at each position. Rightly so, they've been linked with David De Gea, Courtois, all top-class goaltenders, but the Real Madrid shotstopper put in an absolute beauty performance at the Santiago Bernabeu. Keylor Navas earned the UCL Player of the Week title, which just goes to show how incredible he played. Throughout the course of the game, Bayern's attacking talents were in full display as they created a lot of high-scoring chances against the Real Madrid team. Keylor Navas played incredible, but it was former Real Madrid player who is still on loan at Bayern Munich, James Rodriguez, who scored an absolute goal scorer's finish as he tucked it in through Keylor Navas' leg to make it 2-2 on his weak foot, given that James Rodriguez is left-footed, with his right through his legs to make it 2-2. That was it for the goal scoring in that match, as Real Madrid were able to capitalize on their first leg win and hold Bayern Munich at bay so that they could progress to the Champions League final. In the final, they'll be meeting Liverpool. Liverpool were very careful in the game that they played against AS Roma. They played incredible during the course of a brief half an hour period of time at Anfield where they were up 5-0 against AS Roma. Blatantly, Liverpool had a lot of injury crisis affecting their midfield selection. Oxlade-Chamberlain was injured in the first leg, and he's done for the season and for the World Cup. He's gone. Emre Can is facing a late fitness test to possibly join back with Liverpool's team in anticipation for the Champions League final and towards the end of their domestic campaign. So the midfield is looking thin. Fortunately, Swiss Army knife James Milner, or since he is leading the Champions League and is therefore now known as James Milner, he played phenomenal. He had to come in. That said, AS Roma were very fortunate in the goals and the chances that they were, I don't want to say gifted because that makes it come off too rash. Roma played fantastic throughout the course of the second tie, and even so the first 20 minutes of the first leg at Anfield. But good teams always have to find a way to get past that final stage, even if the team isn't at their usual best. So, what happened with James Milner? As I mentioned, some sketchy, to say the least, defending by Dejan Lovren, whipping the ball at James Milner's face in point-blank range. Jokes aside, it was a pretty brutal clearance, and I'm sure James Milner felt completely devastated that that ball went off the back of his head and into the net, surely before he even knew what was going on. Liverpool were in control comfortably. I don't want to say comfortably to the point where you think that, wow, they're dominating in the final third, but they knew that they had an advantage throughout the course of the aggregate tie and were rightly attacking. AS Roma got a very sneaky / very cheeky penalty that some Liverpool fans could feel hard done by, but it was a penalty in the first leg. And in the second leg, at the very last play of the game, AS Roma were able to snatch one back to make the tie go from a sudden, what seemed like to be a done and dusted 5-0 at Anfield, which it finished 5-2, to a 4-2 AS Roma victory, thus ensuring Liverpool go ahead by just one goal. I'm sure questions will be asked of Jurgen Klopp about how they were not complacent, but they allowed AS Roma to hop back into the tie. One thing, AS Roma played with their hearts out. They played a phenomenal style of football. It was very entertaining to watch, and you could definitely see why this AS Roma side were so gifted defensively when they were playing at the Stadio Olimpico, and why they held the likes of Barcelona, the likes of Atletico Madrid, and even Chelsea scoreless. Big props to both Real Madrid and Liverpool for progressing to this year's Champions League final. It's going to be a very exciting one. The matchups are going to be insane, and we will for sure talk about an in-depth analysis / preview of how we think this final is going to go. Salah versus Marcelo, that's going to be an incredible matchup. If you're enjoying our content, feel free to give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as finding us both on our Facebook and our Instagram pages. Both are at Footballtalkstv. Instagram.com/Footballtalkstv. Facebook, Footballtalkstv. We're going to have a lot of interesting content coming up for this year's World Cup previews, a lot of analysis on both the significance of results that happened, why they're important, what can we talk about them, and most importantly, in the off-season we'll be addressing transfer rumors, as that is a rumor mill that definitely needs to be addressed.